Atikame, mafrapo, and welcome to the Eana Mokri podcast. This is now an ASMR podcast. I'm Pomadik, and here with me are my co-hosts, Plumps,
Kalte.
Tawe,
Kalte.
and Willem.
Kalte.
This is not actually an ASMR podcast anymore, but so what this is, though, is a podcast that is a year old. Happy birthday, Eana Mokri podcast.
Yay!
Yay.
Somehow we managed to do 19 episodes of this.
Well, I mean, I'm not sure if actually going to do 19. We might still fail throughout this episode.
Right, okay. Well, actually, no, this is the 19th episode. If we did 19 episodes last year, that would have been really cool, because then it would have been 19 for 2019. But
Ooh, that's a good point.
So the goal should be 20 for 2020.
honestly, if we hit 20 podcasts in 2020, that's more than enough. Though we should be getting more Avatar news, so hopefully we'll have more to report on. Speaking of Avatar news, we actually have Avatar news.
Plenty of it.
And we will get to that later in the episode, as well as some leNa'vi language updates. This episode is jam-packed full of good quality hashtag content. But first, we're going to take a moment to reflect back on the last year of the Eana Mokri podcast with the headline question, I guess. What was your favorite moment from this year of podcasting?
I have a top 3.
Oh,
You have a
wow.
top 3.
I have a
wow,
top
look
3.
at you, Mr. Over-prepared.
Yeah, of course. I suggested it, so I had to be
All right.
prepared.
Fair.
I'm pretty sure that, like, my favorite moment, I have only one, will actually be in your top 3.
I have something fun, useful, and emotional.
Okay.
Something fun was when we discovered that YouTube automatic subtitles doesn't do well with Na'vi. And what was this thing with when Atikame? What was it suggested?
Well, I guess I'm a muffin.
Yeah, exactly.
I forgot about that.
That was beautiful.
The useful thing was the last episode about learning tools and how to learn and suggestions. Although I wasn't present for this, I listened to it and I thought this was one of the best episodes that we ever produced. So I was very proud of that and very proud of you to do that.
Would have been better if you were there.
I know.
That's fine. It's
I'm
fine.
back. I'll be back. I'm back now. And for the emotional part was the thing that I wasn't expecting when we were talking about the Mars mission, and Tawe told us the last words of the Land Rover. That was I had a little bit of tears in my eyes.
I remember that. Yeah. Honestly, you pretty much hit on mine too, because I kind of would have to go with a top 3 at best. Yeah.
All right.
I liked the last episode we did a lot with the learning methods. I had a lot of fun doing it. I think it's one of the most helpful episodes we ever did. But honestly, I also really liked, it's going to sound cheesy as hell, but I really liked the first episode because it's just kind of exciting to do something.
Right.
So if I had to pick a personal favorite, it was probably the episode where I had read a couple of my stories on the podcast, because it was kind of not an easy thing to try to do. So I was really proud of myself for being able to kind of push past kind of wanting to just kind of jump into my shell, but instead share something like that out there.
Yeah, you did a very good job with those. And they were also extremely easy to edit.
Well, thank you.
So anything that's super easy to edit will be like immediately in my top 50%. Willem, do you have any to share? I'm stalling for time, so I can figure out what I want to say.
Okay, great. Then let me just talk. So I think my favorite Eana Mokri moment from last year was definitely the Avatar meet, our cooperative Avatar meet, where like Blooms and I interviewed several people And I think the absolute highlight of that was our interview with Ralu. I liked that very much.
I mean,
it is something.
Awesome. Oh, true. I forgot about that.
Yeah, I thought it would be in your top 3, but I mean.
Yeah, well.
We did so many nice things. Yeah.
Can't be in your top 3 if you forget about it.
It's definitely on the 3.1.
Got it.
Right. I see. But yeah, really, I think that is something that I would never have done without Eana Mokri, and was therefore really special. So I really like that. Mm-hmm. Do you have something already, Pamerick, or should I talk more?
No. Okay. That's it though. That's the thing though, is you sort of beat me to the one I was thinking about. Was I think the coolest piece of content that we created was those literally exclusive interviews. I mean, I felt like that was the point where the podcast went from this weird thing where we get together in a Discord chat and have a conversation to like, oh, we're actually doing something that can play a part in the Avatar community. Similarly with the member interviews, I really enjoy those because just hearing the, I guess, backstories behind everyone in this community and hearing the things that sort of drive them to find the language community. Those are always like really fascinating to hear because, I mean, we all come from very disparate backgrounds, but we all come for very similar reasons. Like, I think a lot of our stories very much rhyme with each other's.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know if I have a favorite specific moment, but I think we've done some pretty cool stuff with the podcast, and I'm excited to see where we continue to take it, especially leading up to the sequels, because I think our reporting on news things, even if they're just, comic reviews fundamentally, I think those kind of things serve to sort of widen our audience and also sort of bring more people into the language as well, because in most episodes we end up having those leNa'vi chats, which honestly have done a lot for my ability to speak the language as well. Like, that's the bulk of my practice from 2019.
Same here.
I didn't practice nearly as much as I wanted to, but whenever we did have these conversations, they were always very useful.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, I really like to practice conversations, as you say, in the first place, because like we actually practice with them, but also because I think they enable people to listen to some natural leNa'vi speak in a not scripted manner. And there's not a lot of that. I think we should continue that.
Yeah, I agree. We should probably move on with the next subject so we can have time at the end of this episode for leNa'vi practice. Speaking of segues, all the hot segues were my favorite part of Eana Mokri. Though last episode, Awe was beating me to the punch with a lot of segues, so I need to reclaim my throne in 2020.
Okay, go ahead.
Good luck.
So anyway, speaking of Avatar news, so we finally got probably our first big substantial bit of something for the sequels, and that phrasing sounds dumb, but fight me if there's a better way to say it. It's not really content, it's not footage, but so we got concept art. We got 4 pieces of concept art created specifically for the sequels, I believe also specifically for Avatar the Second, which show a lot of ocean environments, some islands and some foliage on said islands, as well as it looked like some tide pools, that's the noun I'm looking for, as well as some tide pools at night, which showed Pandora's signature bioluminescence. I know I personally have had these 4 images cycling as my desktop wallpaper for the last week or so, but I wanted to get all y'all's thoughts on these as well.
I'm particularly interested in the fact that at least the last one shows what it looks like to ride on the Ilu, finally.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's the one I also
see the characteristic magnetic field line structures that we'd expect.
I think that I'm definitely in agreement that is the most substantial piece of concept art from these 4. Just because it really is oh yeah, this is objectively this is Pandora, but applied to ocean.
Yeah. Which is always like the really cool part about Avatar and Pandora, and how James Cameron wanted to do this, which was that it's not a normal sci-fi type of world that's all one thing. It's not like Hoth is all snow and all of these different things. It's a world like Earth that has all of these environments on just it.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, elaborating on that, just seeing the different ways that the fundamentals of the world of Pandora can represent themselves in different biomes is just more A++++ world building from Mr. Cameron.
Mm-hmm.
What did you call them? The tide pools, right?
Yeah.
Is that something that exists on Earth in this manner? For me, they looked more like those fields when they, grow rice or something.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but it seems like that they would gather or catch fish in those, right? So the two Na'vi in the background, look like it. Yeah.
Well, that's the thing, is you can catch fish in tide pools. Like, the tide pools are literally like little basins of water that appear because the tide has receded.
Yeah, I see. Okay.
And I shared an image of a IRL tide pool. Like, these are things that actually do exist. And I saw a fleeting bit of discussion that the tidal forces on Pandora are naturally very large because it's a moon orbiting a much larger body of a planet than, the other way around. We experience it on Earth, where the tides fluctuate as a result of the moon.
Mm-hmm.
Awe can science this better than I can.
Yeah, no, we would expect that. In fact, that's part of the reason we know Pandora is more volcanically active, is because of the tidal forces from Polyphemus. Yeah, no, I'd agree. We would have a more substantial effect, which would explain why we would see tide pools up that high. So those are massive, massive tide pools.
Absolutely.
One of the other things that I find nice about the concept art here is that it actually reminds me very much of the Toruk show, because there's a water clan there too, like a reef clan. And actually, I think the imagery is pretty similar. So I think it's clear they collaborated.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, Toruk is entirely canon as far as I'm aware.
Yeah, it is.
It's a telling of a canon story, so like the telling itself might not necessarily be like specifically canon, but it takes on story-like qualities.
But they did collaborate with Lightstorm a lot for producing Toruk.
Yeah, and creatures that appeared on it. Yeah.
Yes, all the creature design went, I think, to through James Cameron, or at least to someone at Lightstorm.
Yeah. Probably at least James Cameron at least once.
Oh yeah, at least once.
Yeah.
And it also appears on the the second one, at least on the third one, on Twitter, that they also hunt from the Eklans.
Right,
yeah.
Interesting. Very interesting. Let's see what actually appears in the movie then.
Yeah,
right.
Because
I'm excited to see.
If you look at all the concept art that's in the Activist Survivor Guide and everything that appears before that, it's just to convey a special or a specific look, and it doesn't have to be, or it doesn't have to appear in any shape or form.
Right.
Just the thematic images that are conveyed, right?
Yeah.
As somebody who works in the game industry, so I interact with a lot of concept art kind of stuff as well. These kind of concept arts are not necessarily to establish shots, but to show two things: so scale, and then the environment and details of the environment. And anytime you see just a Na'vi just posing, standing up or whatever, that's intended to convey a scale or perspective. The shot with the Ikran flying towards the island, that might actually be a shot concepting shot, because there was a lot of unnecessary effort that went into this piece of concept art to show the Ikran flying sort of in this formation. Like the perspective on this feels like it's a shot concept.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah.
There's also a passing rumor that shot with the Ikran flying is actually concepted as part of a potential add-on, or like it has some tie-in with the Flight of Passage ride at Disney Mo'ata, or there was a similar like studio involved in producing it, or like it's somehow adjacent to the Flight of Passage stuff.
I mean, in terms of where you go on the ride, I could definitely see that. Because you definitely have an environment like this.
I vaguely remember, and I don't have a source on this at the moment, but I could have sworn I heard when the Flight of Passage first came out, there was some interview or something where it was like, this is going to be sort of like a living ride, like it's not going to be static forever. Like they may like update it or add to the experience, and it's sort of like a vehicle by which you can experience a certain kind of experience. And I wouldn't be surprised if, as we learn more about Pandora, like the Flight of Passage starts being able to take you to different locations using the same ride.
I could completely see that, because the way that the ride is constructed, they don't have to do anything to change it. They literally have to make the shot and then program the ride vehicle. And that's it.
Yeah, it's entirely programmable.
You don't have to make a new animatronic or anything like that, like they would have to do with a lot of other rides. This is literally just...
like the river journey is not that moddable.
Kind of like how with Star Tours there, they modded that to add in a ton of new stuff.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So there's like a precedent for this.
Yeah, so I could definitely, basically Disney, this is one of Disney's MOs. So I could definitely see that happening.
Well, I just hope before it changes I have the opportunity to actually ride it.
Well, most likely what they do is either play one, like set up a few different ones and play them randomly, or set it up in such a way that it's a segmentable thing and your journey goes through different locations each time.
Right. That'd be cool too.
I could see either of those happening for sure. In fact, I wouldn't even be surprised if I saw one of those happen just prior to or just after the release of one of the new films as a kind of media tie-in.
The thing that you said about the scale, I just noticed right now that the Ilu I imagined it to be bigger, actually. So this is an interesting thing that they actually ride those creatures.
Yeah, the Ilu is the Ikran of the sea, or the Sikran, if you will.
Yeah, now that you mention it, I remember it, but in my head I said, or I thought that because the description was like a Plesiosaurus like creature on Earth, I thought it was way bigger, so that's interesting.
Well, yeah, we always imagine them very big, but we also have to remember that the leNa'vi themselves are also quite large.
Yeah, true.
Speaking of media tie-ins, another very unexpected thing dropped alongside the concept art for Avatar 2 is James Cameron and friends have partnered with Mercedes-Benz to create a concept car that they showed off on the floor of CES called the Vision Avatar. It is how to describe this? So they intended it to be a blending between the machine and the organic. They continually refer to it as like a creature, less than like a vehicle. And the way in which you interface with this car is designed to somewhat imitate Sahelu, in that there's some biometric sensors, and you place your hand over this part of the car that like sort of raises up and becomes this like joystick kind of situation. And the car itself is able to move in very unusual ways. Like it can literally just go sideways because the wheels themselves can freely rotate.
They're like spherical?
Yeah, more or less. They're not totally spherical, but like they're almost fundamentally spherical.
I gotcha.
The tires themselves actually have embedded like turn signal lights in them, like they're LEDs that can change colors, and I think that's just like really cool and smart.
That's awesome.
Yeah, no, the thing that everyone's talking about is these scales on the back of the car that can like raise and lower, and these like really like organic looking patterns. and they serve a purpose. The idea is that they supposedly like convey the emotions of the driver, where if they're like the driver's like very tense and stressed, they might be like raised, sort of like hairs on the back of a cat. Where if the driver is more relaxed, they might be more like flat and kind of chill. And they can also do different patterns to like assist in like braking and, you know, conveying messages to the drivers behind them. If like they're going to be stopping, then like they light up red and they raise up and they're like, hey, stop. It's a very interesting idea. I guarantee you these kind of things never see their way in their current form to market. But the idea behind this and other things shown at CES is to be like, hey, this is where we want to go in the future. This is the kind of thing that we're like thinking about. And this is giving our engineers and designers opportunities to sort of flex their creative muscles and rethink, you know, standards and assumptions that we have about what we're working with, in this case, cars.
It's even supposed to be fully electric.
Oh, yes. Yeah, no, it's fully zero emissions, fully electric, using a organic fuel cell power system, which is apparently like even better for the environment than our current like rechargeable electric cars.
Yeah,
I don't know the science behind it, but it's an experimental technology.
Yeah, no, I could see it. Usually fuel cells end up giving you a much more useful waste product. Yeah, it would give you an organic waste product that's compostable.
Nice.
Yeah, very nice. You said that the tires would actually are meant to be the signals for left and right. So did I understand that correctly?
Yes, left and right turn signals.
Okay. So from the pictures that I've seen, it looks more like an Atokirina than.
That's actually what they were specifically designed after.
Yeah, I gathered that was. Oh, cool.
There's a video interview that accompanied the release where James Cameron and one of the designers were, you know, answering questions, sort of like talking about the thing. This is so totally something that James Cameron would have absolutely loved doing, because he loves the, you know, organic beauty of nature kind of stuff, but he also really loves designing machines and the ships and weapons that the RDA uses.
Yeah.
So this is sort of like the marriage of those two worlds, and you can tell he was totally geeked out about this.
Well, it also says that the whole back of the whole top of the thing is designed as a solar panel.
I didn't read that, but that also makes sense.
All of the sensors, chips, everything that's electronic within it only uses that energy supply.
Yeah, it's the next logical step, isn't it? I mean, yeah.
It's definitely a really cool concept, and so Mercedes-Benz, if you're listening, if you make this, you know who to talk to.
Absolutely. You have a customer in the Avatar fan base that can also afford it. Because the headline behind this is sustainable luxury. It is designed to be a luxury car, not necessarily like, you know, just something that everyone just has.
If it's luxurious enough, I'll live in it.
You don't need a house.
It needs a house where you can bionically interface with your car.
There you go. An aesthetic I'm super into is called solar punk, and it's basically, you know, steampunk, but instead of steam, it's like nature focused and like sustaining our planet and, you know, what we need to do to survive and reverse man-made climate change. Seeing this thing is just like, it just brought a tear to my eye, because I'm just like, this is so solar punk. Like this is a thing of beauty. Like, whether or not I'm a fan of Avatar, like this is just cool.
No, yeah, definitely. Well, the interesting thing to me is those panels on the back. For some reason, they made me think of like Ikran wing motion kind of thing.
Yeah, I could like sort of like the physicality behind it reminds me of that.
It's a very awesome concept car.
It's also just cool to see that the Avatar sequels are real enough now and far enough along in the process where these kind of cross promotions like exist and are being done to slowly like say, hey, reminder world, Avatar sequels are coming, they exist, wake up.
I like the concept of effectively digital neurology to do it.
Yeah, I mean, again, they described it more like a thinking creature. I showed this to my friend and he's like, this car has killed at least 7 large animals. This is like an apex predator.
It's less an Ikran, it's more a Thanator.
I'm having a visceral fear response to this.
This is more a Palulukan than an Ikran.
It really is.
I mean, the only thing that I think is a little bit, well, not impractical, but a little bit weird is the whole window front, no, window side panel for the door. Just seems to be completely made out of glass, so...
Well, in the future, when all the cars are like autonomous, more or less, there's not going to be as many crashes, if any at all, because the human error component that results in crashes will be removed.
Right. So you don't think we need, what is that, airbags or something like that?
Yeah. No, Volkswagen actually has a concept car that they want to bring to market at some point in the next decade or two that once it's completely finished, it won't have a steering wheel because it'll be fully autonomous.
Right. There's actually a couple of other concept cars like that at CES this year.
It's the direction the market seems to be going is this way because it makes sense.
And it's something I will gladly embrace. I was driving around Boston. I wasn't driving, but I was in a car that was driving around downtown Boston earlier today. And I can tell you, I do not wish that upon anybody. If you hate driving, you're going to hate driving in downtown Boston even more. If you love driving, you're going to hate driving in downtown Boston. Like, driving in a dense city with a lot of traffic is not fun for anybody.
Yeah, remember, you're talking to a guy who's currently living in Atlanta, so...
Yeah.
Fun fact, Atlanta is an hour away from Atlanta.
I love that turn of phrase. Anyway, we've spent way too long talking about cars.
Yeah, I thought that was an Avatar podcast.
I'm sure we've lost half of our audience already.
Everybody can tune back in now. And
yeah. Wake up, everybody. We're going to talk about the Na'vi language now.
Whoa.
So, as is tradition, Kariupal shared a Na'vi post on New Year's Eve, and we got several new words along with his usual form of well-wishing and appreciation for the community. Does anyone have any thoughts on the vocabulary that we got?
Well, useful. At least some of them. I mean, hoop is especially the one that I think, needed and missed for a long time. So that's
hoop is definitely the star of the show.
Yeah, Multe.
Yeah, I'd agree that's the most useful out of them. Though I always have a soft spot for things like ventil, like these. Just little specifications.
You'll always get points from me with very clear etymology.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have anything like tsu'tey at this point, right?
Right.
Like waist.
Yeah.
Though we already have bone, so I don't know what tsu'tey. Wait, no. Oh, wait, no. I'm thinking totally wrong word. Yeah, tsu'tey.
Like hand bend point.
Yeah, wrist.
Oh, yeah,
wrist.
That
would probably
be
already
a logical step. Yeah, we have kinantil and until and yeah, that's it. Yeah. And now ventil.
Yeah, it would nicely like complement the ones that we already have. So
yeah,
I'm surprised we don't have a word for wrist.
I could also see
that makes total sense.
I could also see like Zektil coming out at some point.
Zektil
for knuckle or what?
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
But which Zektil, because I believe human and Na'vi hands both have 2 little joints.
Well, you have to specify with inner and outer.
Like
everybody else.
And then of course you get ven Zektil for like toe knuckle. I don't know how to say that in English.
Zektilissim.
I think first, when we speak about body parts, then we need to have words for the specific digits of the hand. So
that's a good point.
Thumb or I don't know, index finger or something like that. That would be.
All right. Don't quote me on this, but my theory is we'll get those words between Avatar 2 and Avatar 3. After Avatar 2 is in theaters, but before Avatar 3 is in theaters, we'll have the words for the individual fingers.
That is pretty specific.
And we'll have a special word for the tsu'tey finger.
Okay, I will get back to you on that on our next anniversary episode.
Yeah. Any reason why you think this, or is this just like intuition?
Gut feeling.
I see.
Also, if we don't have those words by then, I will put a proposal through the LEP to make it true. Okay. This will be a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Nice.
I'll be with you there.
Your opinions about the words for small or medium-sized city. Is it just to... Do you think that there are bigger encampments or bigger settlements of the Na'vi, or is it just so that we as speakers on Earth can speak about larger cities?
I think that translation as smaller, medium-sized city or as like large city, metropolis is more of a attempt to help us visualize an idea of what they're meaning. I would say they're probably just pretty large gatherings, pretty large living areas.
Mm-hmm. Like I don't even know what exactly a tsu'tey would be on Pandora. Like if I think about Kalutral, would it be a tsu'tey?
Yeah, the big. I think about the same lines because I don't consider the Kalutral a tsu'tey, although amongst the roots of the maybe that could be one, but I would more think that the settlement that we see of the what is it, the
horse clans?
The horse clans, right? That would be more my idea of a village.
I can see what you're saying. I think the nature of Kalutral being so tall makes it feel like the Omantikaya settlement is like larger than it actually was, because it's not like they're occupying bottom to top the entirety of Kalutral. Like there's different segments of it that they use for different things, but I think if you were to gather the entirety of the Omantikaya people, you could all fit them on the ground level. In fact, like, comfortably.
They effectively do that.
I feel like it would be similar to like the horse clans or even the Eastern Sea people that we saw, where like it covers an area, but it's not like huge.
Plus, we are working with pretty limited information. We only have what we've seen.
Right.
Yeah. So maybe this is actually just a hint that we'll see bigger clans in the next ones. Who knows?
Right. So I have mixed feelings on these two words.
But it's
for the positives.
Etymology.
Yes, the etymology gives it points. I like the very clear etymology. I'm okay with dropping the L, and because tsu'tey is annoying to say. It's like tsu'tey. That's so much nicer to say. I'm okay with that. My misgiving, though, is I always was told that Sal is the tall big, where a is the more general, large, uncountable, like large.
I don't think so. That has ever been true, right? Like specifically.
Probably. It might be something that I just picked up and assumed, but I don't know. I always associated Sal with tall, and it made sense for this description, or like, a medium or small size or a smaller medium-sized city. tsu'tey, we tend to build up with the bigger the city gets, like to the point where large cities or metropolises tend to have very tall, like 20-story plus buildings, where you don't see those in much smaller like cities. So I don't know if this is like a tsu'teyism. I don't know if this is the Na'vi interpretation of human descriptions of human settlements, or if this is something that naturally exists in their language. I feel like we've seen several examples of these. It looks like clear Na'vi etymology, no loan words or anything, that like describe what I assume were very human things, but using Na'vi vocabulary. I'll come back to you with an example as soon as I have one, but I feel like it's not unusual for a like full leNa'vi etymology thing to describe something that isn't native to Pandora.
Well, I mean, we have like tsu'tey, tsu'tey, salahe.
Separel is the one that I'm thinking of.
Separel. Yeah.
Like the capture image to describe a camera. Like there's no way in hell the Pandoran people have cameras.
No, that makes sense. But I mean, tsu'tey explained it probably.
Exactly.
And
so I don't know if these words are describing things that existed on Pandora and these words existed to describe things that were on Pandora before the humans arrived, or if this is a Pandoranism to describe something they heard about from humans.
Yeah, I don't know either. It might also be a spoiler for the second movie to say that.
It might be one of those words that Paul Frommer gave us because the 100% of leNa'vi speakers are on Earth right now and need words to describe Earth things.
Yeah, exactly. That makes sense. To come back to that Sal versus Apa discussion, I've always in my mind this distinction, but like I think they are synonyms. I always used Sal for more like impressively large. Like if you say a tree is like Chao, I feel like, okay, this is a very impressive tree. If I say the tree is Apa, it's like just large. It's not necessarily impressive, it's just like an objective description. So I basically for tsu'tey, in that distinction, which admittedly is completely personal, I think it makes sense.
Honestly, that's pretty interesting because I feel like I would lean the other way. I would use Sal for
interesting
because maybe that's just because of the adjective sound, but also I would do it because typically you wouldn't say the word large unless you are trying to emphasize the size of something.
Yeah, and for me, Apa also had something of it's more like an abstract large. Like there was one example where he said "skaung Apa." So it's not a tall moron, but it's an abstract huge moron. So
that's a good point too.
Yeah.
Of course, that also raises the question if there's like a similar word for small, like an abstract small.
Yeah.
I think those are all very good questions for right. I mean, yes, something like that. But I think those are really good questions to Caio Pauw. Let me try to make a segue because I think Pamerick also asked some questions to Caio Pauw recently and got an answer.
I did.
Ooh.
And I just refreshed my email to make sure that I didn't get a response that I could like debut on the podcast. So yeah, I sent a long email to Caio Pauw, actually my first email to him ever. Basically the crux of a lot of these questions was, can we describe the noun component of C verbs? Like we've had a version of this question answered before, but we got a very vague answer. So I'm sort of like digging into it further with like very specific examples. But in going through and obsessing over every single C verb in the language, I came across tsu'teys and eywa'eveng, which are the only C verbs in the entire language that don't have a noun or adjective that is attested.
Yeah, that's true.
Where we have like irayo-C, where irayo is an interjection for thanks, but it's also a noun for thanks itself, or like a thanking. But so my question was, is tsu'tey a valid noun for a greeting in the same way that irayo is for a thanking? And I got a definitive response from him, basically no.
It actually includes in your question, like you're saying now, like we know that irayo is already a noun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. So
I can actually quote specifically what I sent.
Okay.
The specific question was, is tsu'tey a valid noun for a greeting? Tsu'teys is the only example of a C verb where there is no corresponding noun or adjective. We all know that tsu'tey functions as an interjection in the same way that irayo functions as an interjection. However, irayo is also an attested noun for a thanks or a thanking, where tsu'teys is not. The response, word for word, that I got from him is, regarding my initial C verb questions, These are some tricky questions you've posed, but certainly important ones. I need to think about them a bit before responding definitively. I'm afraid I haven't been great about getting back to people in a timely manner, but I'll do my best to not take too long with this. For now, though, I will just say that tsu'tey cannot be used as a noun for greeting. We need a different word for that. I'll add it to my list. So, no, noun is not tsu'tey. And we will get another word for that later. It is on the list. So hopefully sometime in 2019 we will have a new noun for a greeting, but it will not be tsu'tey.
Well, sometime in 2020.
Hypothesize.
Sorry, 2020. I keep forgetting what year it is. Like, I'm so used to 2019.
10 years ago is still not 90s, damn it.
Now we just hypothesize that it will be tsu'tey, which is the most annoying word to announce and look to pronounce ever.
Oh, if it's tsu'tey, I'll quit this language.
Dang.
Oh, that's a threat.
I remember when Pomeroy left.
Yeah.
I didn't leave over ke, but I'll leave over to tsu'tey.
Oh.
Because tsu'tey is not a verb.
That's actually pretty similar to a response that I had gotten to an email I sent about numbers a while ago and finally replied to, so hopefully we'll see where that goes. But yeah, he was giving some suggestions of what may end up being how the leNa'vi would talk about adding, subtracting, and multiplying numbers.
That will be exciting for all the math nerds who insist on turning very, very large numbers into very specific leNa'vi numbers.
Yeah, well,
Guilty.
maybe they also need math teachers in Na'vi. Who knows?
Please.
No.
I will write a curriculum entirely in Octal.
Well, that's okay. Oh,
no.
You can do that.
That would be interesting to read.
Don't tempt me. I've basically already done half of that.
Yeah, I think we already know that it's going to happen now.
It's inevitable.
Yep.
Speaking of the leNa'vi language, we can speak the leNa'vi language.
All right, that one was a little low effort. I'm going to be honest.
I'm tired. It's late.
Can you? I haven't spoken Na'vi in so long. I have forgotten everything. Spilloy.
Dumb. In that case, we will attempt to be speaking leNa'vi, and Plumps will not because he cannot. How unfortunate.
You might be hearing some German in between.
Yeah, he can speak German, and I'll just smile and nod.
I can do that.
Then I will translate the German into Na'VI.
Just hear every once in a while just a Scheiße.
Oh, somehow that's the only word you know.
Right?
Oh,
I know Guten Tag, that's about it.
Oh, okay, good.
My German level is Rammstein. So anyway, so we're gonna be doing leNa'vi practice as is tradition, more or less. We are not perfect speakers. We are all practicing and learning, but we hope that this is a useful exercise to y'all. And with that said, our word of the cast is going to be Tsu'tey. Tsu'tey being a noun for the future, comes from Tsu'tey or the coming time, which I think it's one of my favorite etymologies.
Oh no, that is awesome.
Anyway, because we're now officially in the future, I think it's a very fitting word to prompt with. Let's see where this goes. Pivenkoko.
Fesesiteri Anga neo behemsivi.
Neo oi Iaham CV. Luweru hong te kankem via.
Smon werutsa te efu.
Nisupe we hase sia vi nasolur. Sla put ewelza zisitam.
Smon werutsa te efu. Nimun.
Ulte stum kaukerke te kankem ke soli oe za te kankem vior. zesitam. Nikä Ft'o.
Weri zesitam no leo bot eoe san oeneo I vahauni ul taluna tsaudu vpomtok nga kefja.
Srane.
Sle keflole.
Ke hivahau nga netam kefja?
Rut eywa'eveng.
Ke hivahau netam nga srak?
Vpiloet safja, srane. Sle oeneo lau.
Atsefu nga srak?
Lu ipo ngeet olu Willem hahaure o.
Srane. Sunu erufa hahau. Sle oe ke hahau nitam vpiloe. Zesitam bot eoesan oezene I vahau ni ul. Sik. Sle kesempelt oe no lui. Ulte set ne oe fmivine mun. Sle set oe set wat ook vitsengit kamt o mau. Ulte sweli vut o I vahau sle ketsun oe taluna. Ne oe livu hap etu fe podcastie.
Behem sai nga fte hivahau netam fizisit.
Keomum. Zene oe pive un futa oe leNa'vi. Oe leNa'vi haun krr. Sle tsaulungesik.
Damn. Sits on a staff bill.
Where do you lu aya tekanken vi up I o no hase CV tsaur sla kelmum well tänkta tsun oe taken CV taluna Zeneoe kivad numtseng ned
Numtseng pak.
Ankar.
Zening numseng CV.
Numtseng CV.
Numseng CV.
Sran.
Mat awe.
Tsunfko niveau hemelu Safia.
Mat awe befnet de kankem vi singa.
I fne te kankem vi.
Singa srivatsu what?
Rute.
Au. Oeneu ngivo oeneu ngivo sanume san ul ulte ngivo Aiavuri
Ansan, vur nge kosman leu.
Stunui.
Aivor nge. Yeah. Tam. Ma plumps. Lungaru tekan mipa zisit bi. Srak?
Srane.
Pefnel?
Pefnel. luaru mipa inten olte tsari oe neu san ivul neul ulte fpom tok iri neu oe uvan letok sivi neul
Tam.
ha tul fu slele Strane.
Oh.
Slele, ningai strak.
Strane.
Kessunu erus
Sain
fua
me
slele ningai taluna fko slule pai. Kessunu eru.
Slule paiko.
Pesu slu pai?
Slivu pai.
Tsu'tey slele. Slolam strak.
Slivu pai.
Che spero well futa slam.
Nawang hu pai ko.
Kesmo werut sali ualu nawang.
Nawang.
Omum futa fketok sali u sle.
Che zero.
Sola well.
Puma mi ni do.
Saulu tekan sisitea mi.
Che no ni
Fua ftia aile utia mi.
Taluna zanenga
kesmo
siahasivi
weru.
kapia.
Aja liku.
Siahasivi jafa.
Peu.
Straketsu nga siahasivi baifa?
Nejei. Nejei oin neu.
Jäine tan. Saker zu briefan jag. Saker tiverku. Saker.
Che he oi neus livele ne nejei. Che neo ois livune pai, che neo oi ni vawang hupai sunu veru pai sle.
Furia siahasivi baifa ngazene ni vume.
Soon calls.
I'm like when you're editing this, my Discord is connected, so I cannot hear anyone.
Sorry,
So please cut this out.
Siahasi me fai?
Niftue.
Strane.
Soon eking CV aulo.
It's eking us way.
Sorry, elan way no lume.
Se fmaioe tsakem CV ulte oe flive payengoe aingaru.
Räti verkku na elan.
Root
ngarit lan mawelivu.
Zene al nga ut asiviv de statni baum si fi podcastur.
Rut elevei.
Zene aunga ut asivi fid podcast door statnipamsi.
Ja, sra. Ngarute jaur. Me fai. Ut asi me fai strak.
Ke sa o as statnipamsi ke zo me fai.
Sran.
El tulef nga tiverku me fai.
Le'uri alu susaukr frakr sunueru fwa le'u lu siena le'u am le'upuk.
Strane.
Strane.
Wow.
Also detentie.
Strane.
Silpeoets ne frakker ngai saf naun livu.
Sunueru fifth maun. Net.
Saf maun ive aun.
Kenau ngal mipa le'u alu zu. Sala zuya. Kemu.
Kehe. Susaukr zene ive aun siena le'u am le'upuk.
Le'u alu zuzu.
Zuzu.
Kehe.
Danga.
Und jetzt sakr Suzu-Tipp.
Zuzu-Tipp. Keneo not. Wedi neo oes kekeng CV de people leNa'vi nitsan neul
Na hufwe.
Naufwe strane.
Strane.
Zusa kurme.
Avatar.
Oenetang.
Zum kekeng CV ngahu mat awe.
Ningai.
Strane.
Nisilpe tun oe takem CV nitang.
Ansan.
Sle lucid sana tekan. Mipa zisit speak.
Strane. Lutekan sun livu fraporu Jerune set.
Strane me frapo. Ja, sen et sakem si.
Strane. Tsunainga nivume. Nuveme ko aiwehu.
Sivako.
Sifako.
With that, I'm just gonna go ahead and wrap this up. I don't think we could possibly have a better outro segue. If you like what you heard and you want to practice with us or learn what the hell we were just saying, please join us in the learnna'vi community. We got a Discord community where we're more than happy to work with y'all, and anyone who's curious and comes with a genuine desire to learn, you'll find a community here. You'll find new friends, and yes, you have enough time to learn learnna'vi before the sequels.
More than enough time.
I will keep you guys posted when you don't have enough time.
Yes. I mean, if you start next year, then it will become like problematic.
It'll be more difficult.
Well, depending on the time investment.
Yeah. On the podcast on the eve of the premiere, I will say, yeah, you're kind of out of time to learn that. But hey, we got more sequels coming, so
yeah,
there's always next movie. Mm-hmm. Anyway, with that, we're gonna peace out. Hei le'vai.
Hei le'vai.
Hei le'vai.
Hei le'vai.
All right, let's kick off this year with some excellent podcasts. We're off to a good start on that front.